Welcome to the How to Play video for my game, Mini Kingdom. First, I'd like to show an unboxing of the Gridfinity storage system for the game. All of the game components are 3D printable, and all of the components fit into these printed trays. Each of the players' units, buildings, and resources fit into these 2x3 grid trays. Then all of the board or land pieces fit into the larger 6x4 grid tray. Now let's set up the game board. I'm showing a 2-player layout in this video. From the second piece onward, lay each new land section on the sides with the exposed T connector pieces. 4 land pieces are used per player. 8 pieces are needed for a 2-player game, but the map can be expanded for more players. After the land pieces are connected, we can add the resources and the mountains. There's an example on page 5 of the instructions. Use this for your first game. You can customize the layout in later games, but make sure each player has an equal number of resources. Set up one player's side at a time, and then set up the other side from the perspective of that player. Here's a quick view of the complete board. Now each player must place their starting settlement. The settlement must be placed in the 4 rows closest to the player they belong to. A settlement consists of a lumberyard, which must be placed next to a forest, a farm, and a barracks. All 3 buildings must touch another on at least one side. The lumberyard and the farm start with 3 hit points. The barracks starts with 6. Finally, a pikeman is placed next to the barracks. It begins with 3 hit points. Again, note that all pieces are in the 4 rows closest to the player. The starting resources should be set to 20 food, 0 gold, and 20 wood. The turn counter should also be set anywhere from 15 to 10 turns. 10 is the default for new players, but longer games are optional. Before showing gameplay, I'd like to give an intro to buildings and units. The castle provides an attack like 2 archers and takes 3 turns to build. On the turn it's built, you set its hit points to B1, and on the next turn it's set to B2. Finally, on the second turn from when it was built, it is set to 18, and it can attack from that point forward. The castle is also worth extra victory points. The university only scores victory points, and it takes 1 extra turn to build. Now let's take a look at the other military buildings, the barracks and the stable. The barracks is on the left. It can produce archers and pikemen, 1 per turn. The stable is on the right. It can produce knights and catapults, also once per turn. Note that archers start with 2 hit points, pikemen with 3, knights with 7, and catapults with 5. Next, let's take a look at economic buildings. On the right, we have a farm. In the middle, a lumberyard, and on the left, a mine. The mine produces gold when built next to a gold deposit. The lumberyard produces wood when built next to a forest, and the farm produces food. The farm doesn't need to be built next to any particular resource. Now here's a walkthrough of the red player's first turn. This player decides to place a farm here and a lumberyard here, which is using this forest. These 2 buildings will together cost 10 food and 15 wood, so we can reduce those resource counters appropriately. This turn red will also move the pikeman, which can move 2 spots at once if it does not attack. At the end of the turn, 10 food is earned from the 2 farms. And 10 wood is earned from the 2 lumberyards. Make sure to always advance your turn counters after both players have done their turn. Let's continue with turn 2 for the red player. They decide to first build a farm and then a lumberyard. They have to pay 10 food and 15 wood. They move their pikemen 1 more space. Finally, they earn resources. Red has 3 lumberyards, so they earn 15 wood. They also have 3 farms, so they earn 15 food. Keep in mind that a turn has 4 phases: make units, build buildings, move and attack, and then earn resources. In the first 2 turns, make units was skipped and there were no attacks. Other than earning resources, all phases are optional. Now we will continue with some other game concepts. Here we show that buildings can be built not only next to your existing buildings, but also next to pikemen or archers. Refer to page 8 of the instructions for full building placement rules. Here's an example of making new units. The red player makes a knight, which is created at a stable. It starts with 7 hit points. Then they want to make an archer. This is how an archer is inserted into a unit counter base. The archer starts with 2 hit points. Note that the stable and barracks can each make 1 unit per turn, and that unit must start on a space touching the building that produced it. Let's take a look at combat. Red and blue military units are poised to fight. We'll show red's turn first. This red pikeman can move 2 spots or move 1 spot and attack. The red player chooses to move 1 spot and attack this archer for 2 damage. This defeats the archer. In this case, we also need to consider counter damage. Each unit does bonus damage to one another type of unit. Archers do bonus damage to pikemen. When a pikeman attacks an archer, they take 1 counter damage back from the archer, even if the archer is defeated. See page 11 of the guide, as well as the player guide for more info. Next, the red player will move the knight. It can move 3 spots. Here are 2 options. Red will decide to move it forward to the left. Red will also choose to move the archer, which can move 2 spaces. Now we will show blue's counterattack. Keep in mind that the red player would still earn resources, and then the blue player would need to do their turn phases 1 and 2 before this would happen. We're just skipping ahead in this video to show different aspects of combat. First, the blue player will attack the red pikeman, doing 3 damage. That's enough to defeat the pikeman. Next, this blue knight can move 3 or move 2 and attack. The blue player chooses to move 2 and attack the red knight. It will do 3 damage. So the red knight has 4 hit points left. The last topic on combat that we'll show is how castles can attack. Castles attack as if they were 2 archers. Castles occupy 4 hex, so the range extends from all 4 of those hex. The blue castle can strike red's knight and archer. It will do 2 damage to each, defeating the archer and reducing the knight to 2 hit points. Here's a quick demonstration of how to remove units from the unit counter. Lift the unit slightly to get it over the bump on the counter, then slide it out. Finally, here's how all the parts fit into the storage. Turn counter and land pieces go into the bottom storage tray. Then we add the 4 trays of one player's pieces on top of that. This is followed by the 4 trays of the other player's pieces. Finally, the lid holds all the resource counters, and that goes on top to enclose all the pieces. I hope this video helps you get started with playing Mini Kingdom. Refer to the description for a link to the model files and full game manual. Thanks for watching.